So, hello folks, welcome back. So, this is my second attempt at live streaming some code and hardware and stuff and whatever and pancakes. So, let's get started. So, where did we left off? So, we had added some basic things for the UI and things like that. So just in advance, this stream will be shorter than the one this morning. I'm still trying to get my bearings and everything. So let's see. That's still replying, so everything's fine. I actually wanted to check if adding sensors also updates the list here, and it doesn't. So we need to double check what's going on. Might be a mutation thing, might be some other problem. So first of all, let's see. So sensors UI is just iterating over node sensors lists. So I need to check. Normally it's going through all the nodes. Let's double check that. Render nodes. Here we have a debug message. So we can take a look. So does this change anything? Adding sensor. No, it's not redrawing. Might be something to do with, as I said, mutation versus no mutation. So I think normally it's doing this here. Navigating nodes. Let's try that if there's any update. So, it does seem to go through there. So this is being updated. Best thing in this case is just to look up HTM. That would be on GitHub. And the documentation, so this is what I'm using together with preact. So this is really practical, so you can use like markup. Sorry about that. To have a really minimal in-browser way of rendering things. So I'm not sure what could be causing the issue. Because normally it does re-render on changes whenever the data changes. Well, I need to take some closer look. So it's adding the sensor. I'm just gonna do some big bad hack. So data dot sensors, data dot nodes. This is really bad because it's gonna add technically another node, but we might be able to see what's going on. So that's not re-rendering either. So what could it be? Because what we want, of course, is for things to be re-rendered whenever the data changes and whenever we have something incoming from the remote things, it's actually behaving as expected. So let's just add these back to see if we're getting some UI updates, and we can test it that way. As you can see, it's doing that. That's also re-rendering the UI. So we need to figure out what's different here. Just a sec. So also I'm receiving those and those are getting updated. So it must be some difference in the way that is being changed. Sensors. We can do this perhaps. Equals. We're gonna recreate a new node and sensors. We're pushing the same data. So here, matching sensor. So to push, it does add that. Really strange. So this would technically recreate dummy nodes, and we can do this. And then do the same thing we did earlier, which is not very elegant, but still data.nodes. Push tmp. What does this do? So still not working. It means that this is getting changed in a different way. I really doubt that, but you never know. So, no, it's not going there. Okay, well, I think I'll just leave that for now. It's really weird though, so I need to investigate that later. So we're adding that sensor. So what we're going to do, we can still add the UI to add actuators. So this might not be anything revolutionary, but it still takes you through some basic steps to create some UIs relatively easily. So where was that? So sensor type. So basically we're gonna reuse this, and that's gonna be for that one. And this is add new actuator. And we're gonna update that. So actuator type, actuator, actuator. Don't mind the lowercase, uppercase, please. Actuator ID, actuator pin. It's more or less the same things. I need to modify that so that it's coherent, but for now the default is still a turnout, not just a single car. That's where I realize I'm not a native English speaker, but who cares anyway, right? Just a sec. So where are we at? Actuator pin, la 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 la. There, actuator type. And we should be all set to do add actuator. And we can just create that thing as well. So add actuator. So of course, again, we need to change those as well. I really could have gone with direct refactoring here and reuse the code, but you know what they say about premature refactoring, blah blah, source of all evil and end of the world and all that stuff. So we still have to look for that matching thing. Here we are using an actuator into the sensor. We don't need any timestamp, of course. So let's use actuators. We are going to add this one and that one. So yeah, we should be all set. Let's see if this works. Yeah, amazing. So we can add new actuators and take a look here. And here we go. Turn out. There it is, the one that we got back from the hardware sensor and the one we added with uppercase T, so that's run as well. But at least it's getting added. Why it's not updating the list of sensors is still beyond me or actuators. Here, a little mistake to fix. Let's switch that to lowercase to match what we already have on the other side. There. And so, oh, there's one thing we also need to add. It's the reset clear configuration. Need to double check if it's actually also clearing the actuators, but yes, it is. So that's good already. So let's try that. Always a bit of refresh. That is interesting. It's when we're doing this and so pushing the reset clear configuration. Oh, that's interesting. It seems to be delayed, but it still managed to clear that. Okay, let's try adding this and adding that. That's not working on a delay. Interesting. Well, anyway, this seems to work as expected. Let's just refresh it to see. Okay, it should be doing that immediately because, well, it's clearing them from there. So yeah, I'm gonna double check this. So let's not send the mqtt message to the nodes and just check if this actually triggers a UI refresh. So let's just see about that. And it doesn't. So we need to double check that. I might have needed to check out the documentation beforehand. By the way, I'm not actually taking a look at comments or anything like that, so sorry about that. I'm still getting used to this whole live setup. I've seen there are some widgets that allow you to, well, see the comments and interactions with users at the same time as you're streaming, but that's still beyond my level. So bear with me. I'm sure in 10 years or so, or perhaps a bit less, I'll have to manage that. So here we can see it's rendering the node. So it means that for some reason these are, I'm sorry, these are working. Find on message. Oh, well, that's called being an idiot because I'm actually manually calling that. So I forgot there's no data binding or anything set up. So manual all the way. So this should actually work. And you kind of get spoiled in some software setups and you forget, my bad. So this time, oh, amazing. When you actually update things, it's working as expected. So this should also, oh wait, no, we haven't updated that. Clear configuration, that one needs to do this as well. So I still liked sending that immediately so we get the response back. And we can, by the way, also start doing things like this, like reusing the variables, and then of course we can set up things later like this so that you can actually specify what node you want to clear. And let's refresh that, and we should have a new sensor, a new actuator, great, and reset clear configuration. Actually behaves like it should. Hooray! So now what are we gonna do? I think it's getting kind of messy. So let me check how it looks so that I can think for a bit. First things first, I think we can add a conditional button here based on whether it's an actual turnout or not. Because if you're not adding a turnout, you would have different buttons. So typically you either have turnouts, which is typically a servo, which can be either left or right, or you can have LEDs, which, well, you could set the brightness typically, so PWM, that's what we're going with so far. At some later point, perhaps setting the actual color with some RGB LEDs, LEDs, sorry, and that. First things first, so we said having a little bit of conditional thing here. So I think preact works differently. So I used a lot of different things, so React, Vue, and a lot of things over the past few years. Cycle.js also. So these tend to be a bit different. Um, You know what? Let's do it like this. Turnout UI would be actually this. What I like about all of these is that it's basically just functions and some standard code. There's no magic anywhere, so this is just going to replace it with the actual HTML elements. So, what we can do is perhaps so actuator. So except that I only have access to that there, so we need to turn this into a function which would return this, and what we want is the actuator instance being passed in. Let's go with this. So let's put it here. It's just returning that generated with the tag template. So here we're gonna do this, which I think it will be worth changing down the line, but I'm okay with it so far. So the big bad if actuator.type is different from turnout, then just return, I don't know, let's go with an empty div. It's always nice to have empty divs, right? Or not. It's better than having the wrong UI. So div, there you go. And so this is gonna bail out, and other than that, it's gonna render the turnout UI. So let's check this first. Of course, right now we're only adding turnouts, and that's not working. So this should check it correctly. So let's go see what's going on. Actuated type is not a turnout, and otherwise return this. Oh, of course, because this is a function. So we need to pass in that, and that's already working. So I don't know, let's just go with LED matter. Here you can see it's not adding that, and if we add a turnout, then it's adding it correctly. So that's working as expected. And for now I don't have any LEDs connected, but we can already prepare that. So let's go with some different things. We're going to assume for now that there's only LED and turnouts. So this one is going to return an input type range, so that we have, so what was it, value, that would need to be stored somewhere. So let's go with 0 so far, and let's go from 0 to 255, the classical thing. So let's see if that works. So let's add an LED, and there you would be able to set that. So since I already have these in place, I can take a look at my Node-RED configuration because I had this kind of thing, so we can already prepare it. I can't show you right away because I have no LED connected or anywhere nearby, but at least it will be all set up for next time where we add an actual LED. What are we gonna do? Where is it? Where is it? So I guess it would be on change, and we would need something like send LED value. I guess it's, yeah, not very elegant, but hey, who cares? So which would also perhaps be better if it were set LED value. We can change that. So where do we have this? We can just configuration. So let's use this. And we need to send it to the right point. So this would be the topic, which is the send to accessories slash the name of the node. So thanks to super duper strings in newer versions of JavaScript, we can just interpolate that, and that would be node name. And command would be this. So this would just send it, and we can just add the value that we want to send. So we have this, and that would be the event.value. And while we're at it, we can also parse int it so that we have the correct thing. And let's change that to set LED value. We might not need that at that point, but okay. Let's just make sure that we are sending commands to actually configure nodes that are present in our list. So let's do this. Let's add an LED. And this should, well, of course, if we're not checking anything, it's not going to do anything. Let's do this. Sending LED value. This one also needs to be used. We don't even need that anymore. Index should be, by the way, set to the correct night, but that's something we also need to make a bit more coherent across the different sensors and actuators and everything. Let's see if this would work as expected. So let's add an LED. So NAN value, I'm not sure anybody would like that. So just let's make sure, is this sending the correct thing? So value, NAN. Okay, so we can do a bit of small debugging. Let's just keep this around. So likely set the wrong value, parse int. So let's just send the event first and see if I did anything wrong. I'm not quite sure. Oh, it might be e.target.value. To double check that. My brain is mushy, so you'll have to excuse that. So there we go. I really need to persist this data because redoing everything is not the best. So we have value target dot value. Where are you at, value? There we go. Okay, so e.target.value, e.target.value, and we're adding back parse int so that we actually get a nice integer. Man. So let's add the LED again because we love adding LEDs. Oh, amazing. We're actually getting something correct. That's very nice. Sorry. So that works. This works. That's good. I really need to improve the layout here because this is not going to be very practical. Also, I think in the next part will be so restructuring that so we have a nice table and that we can set and edit and then basically set the configuration by overriding everything in memory. Also, we might want to keep things like the value of the LED around in memory here, and it also might be worth at some point adding the ability on the Arduino, so ESP side, to actually send us back the whole information so that we can more accurately get the current state of the node without messing around with not quite the same data in the browser. But again, this is just supposed to be a very simple and easy configuration tool where we can add things and at some points perhaps have a nicer UI where you can control your LEDs and things like that. So thank you for watching. This was a shorter one, so yeah, I hope you still enjoyed it. Next time I'll see if I do some longer things, 1 hour or something like that. I'm not sure. I think I like the short version, and well, yeah, we'll see what we can fit. So see you around and have a nice day.